They told me you can't do that here, Beanie. It might sound good in one of your books, but this is a construction site. You can't build a learning environment here. But I didn't start with a touchy-feely feel-good program or some poster. It started with a shelf. One shelf, a few books, a marble, a cricket ball, and a football. That's how you build a learning environment. Not with noise, but with signals. Signals that say, we improve here and we think here. We actually give a about getting better together. Human beings don't just need motivation. They need a purpose, autonomy, and a shot at mastery. When you build that into your environment, your team will grow and they will improve. And what happens next is they start to own the change with you. You want to build your culture? Start with a shelf.
Average crew looks busy. Trucks moving, tools in hands, but nothing's actually shifting. That's not a productivity problem, despite what all the gurus try and tell us on LinkedIn. We have a look at the moment. It's a symptom of the real problem. Well, I'll explain that further. We'll look at it, right? It's disengagement. Lives right inside your leadership, whether that's something that you want to hear or not, and whether you can see it or not. So we're going to, of course, at Sunday, we do our operations and intelligence brief for construction school. We're going to run ORCA like we always do because that is our standard. Got a new slogan, which we're going to start using for construction school because it's one of the key metrics that we're measuring there, which is everyone engaged every day. Going to read you a quick, short piece from the Afterburner Advantage, page 205. For people to perform at anywhere near their best, they need to be engaged. To engage people, you need to have a great story to tell them. And we need to do that by data and visual planning, showing them where we're actually going. A story that's believable, direct, and empowering. We want people to apply their ability to do something and their desire to do something. First of all, it starts with us. Tell us why, Boo.
It's what's really great about the fighter pilot community. It's the only job in the military where the officers and the leaders are also the execution side of the business. So it's not like you're a major and you're in command of 200 troops in a company or a platoon as a lieutenant, even as the leader of the entire Blue Angels, which is a massive responsibility because it's not just the 6 airplanes flying, it's the 200 men and women that support it and travel all over the world. We build an environment that is robust enough to allow this high turnover. The Blue Angels is exactly like any other squadron in that a third of it turns over every 12 months, but the system is robust.
The exact problem that we have in the construction industry is we turn over our teams, okay, because we're doing short-term work. It's something we're never ever going to get away from. But as he says, the system is robust enough to compete with it, to deal with it.
Enough to deliver a performance standard consistently. It's really creating simple systems that you can plug anyone into where the focus is on building trust every day, which means in our world,
simple systems that you can plug anyone into where the focus is on building trust every single day.
Never show up knowing everything. It's impossible. There's no such thing as the 100% fighter pilot, even guys that have been flying for 30 years. You've got to be curious. You've got to be humble because if you're not, the jet humbles you. And if you're not careful, it humbles you in a way that's permanent. It's what's really...
If you're not careful, the jet humbles you and it humbles you in a way that's permanent. Well, let's just make sure we've got our key metrics that we should be speaking to up here. We'll look at those in a minute. All right. So we're going to separate. I don't believe the problem is productivity. I believe the productivity is our workforce isn't fully engaged. And if you look at stats worldwide, not just in the construction industry, that's exactly what those stats tell us. Something like 50% are engaged and then another percentage on top of that are actively disengaged, meaning they're going out of their way not to do things. Right. So we think productivity is the be all and end all. Now I learnt this from a guy called Ari Meisel, who is arguably called the most productive man on the planet. He had a construction company and he got what's known as Crohn's disease, I think it was. So he was limited to be able to do 1 hour's work a day. So what was taking in 12 before, he had to compress to 1 to be able to keep his business running. And he says you got productivity, you got efficiency, and you got effectiveness. There's a big difference between the three. So productivity just equals more. Productive means you just do more. Doesn't mean you're doing more of the right stuff. Just means you're actually doing more. Efficiency equals more with less. You can do it quicker. Do more quicker. Again, there's no real measuring around whether what you're doing is adding value or not adding value. Effectiveness equals more of what works, more commonly known as progress. That's what we want to track. We want to track how do we get more effective at what we're doing. We can be highly productive and highly efficient at creating waste, what we call non-value added activity in lean terms. All right. Another guy that I learned off, Keith Cunningham, wrote a book called The Road Less Stupid. He explains it like this. He says, we have triangle here. What we've got down the bottom here is our, actually, did that quite right. Okay, so what we've got down the bottom here is reality. This is what we're currently achieving. Up here, we have, call that our baseline. Baseline is reality. What we ought to be able to do. We ought to be able to do a lot better than what we currently are. Okay, so we look at this gap here. And we call that the problem. We say it's productivity. We say it's skill shortage. People are lazy. What Keith says is those there are symptoms, not the real problem. The real problem sits back in here. That's why we can't move that reality line up to where we know we ought to be able to get to. What we've got down here is the problem. That's the symptoms. You have to excuse my writing and spelling. Oh, I've drawn that. Bainey's drawn that in behind himself. Okay, I better put it down here. Problem. Problem is I drew it in the wrong spot. Okay, problem sits down in here, which is our people are not engaged, disengaged, which is creating all this up here, what we're calling a productivity issue and all the rest of it. Of course, Albanians recognise this, so we are tracking this in school. School is the way, the tool that I'm using to create a learning environment. So it doesn't matter what side I'm on, whether I'm at home, in the home office like I am here, whether I'm on site. I have people running this same stuff on sites in Darwin. No doubt there's guys that have worked with me over the years that are doing different forms of this on sites pretty much everywhere around Australia. Because I realised I needed to really change this, I needed to create leverage. And it's not just about me, or it's not about me at all. It's about, as I said in the Dr. Seuss quote that I saw yesterday, you got brains in your head and shoes in your feet so you can go wherever you want to go. Something along those lines. Don't crucify me if I haven't quite got Dr. Seuss right. But that was what I saw in the cafe yesterday. Of course, the crux of what we do is ORCA for this, out of this book, The Afterburner Advantage. crux of everything that I've done. The reason why I'm on day, I think I'm on like day 147 today. So that's the comment. Drop that in the comments. Have you run ORCA with your team yet? Hot dog? Yes, you've done it. Not a hot dog? No, you haven't. So, because engagement is disengagement is our real problem, and we want, inside construction school, we want this. Hey, I need to get rid of how. Why have I got everyone engaged every single day? That's the measurement that we are measuring inside construction school to get to where we want to get, where we've got catalysts on every site, construction site in Australia, that are turning up to make sure that everyone on their site is engaged every day, every single day. Okay. Let's have a look at our metrics and see how we've done. No point hiding from what's good and what's not. So our metrics review. So our engagement last week was 26%. We haven't moved the needle on that. We're still at 26%. So that doesn't change for the week. Discovery, we are at 5,928 this week. Last week we were 5,851. So we've gone backwards again. We need to keep working harder and harder and harder on that, getting that engagement up. That is the only thing that I'm focused on inside construction school at the moment, is exactly what I said to before, everyone engaged every single day. That's exactly what we need on our sites as well. We don't need people just running around and doing more for the sake of doing more. We don't need people being more productive. We don't need them being more efficient. We need them being more effective. Effective is making progress. You can very productively and very efficiently create rework. You can very productively and very efficiently do things that don't need to get done, things that don't move the needle. All right. How we tell the story? We tell the story via our daily ORCA boards. This is one that I've set up. If you haven't seen how I run it yet and you want a copy of that, reach out. I'm going to run an ORCA live on here in a minute with Claude. You'll see that in a second. And hey, didn't quite get me set up right. The other way that I track it is with visuals everywhere. We're going to go in depth into this next week. All war rooms. War rooms are given a second thought when they're set up. And it's the most important thing that you can possibly have, because as you said in the book there, we need to tell an engaging story. Get people to grab their buy-in. I use all sorts of things like progress bars are great. As you can see, this is one where I'm tracking my own progress. My little packs that I've done this year. The first one you can see I only did 3 from 10. Second one I got 7 out of 10. Third one I did 100%. Missed one day there on Claude. Learning, I got 7 out of 10. Study and flex, that's actually 7 from 7. We'll get today. And then I track my hours that I've made progressing towards doing 100 hours live with ORCA, because that for me is the key to me being able to engage crews on site and all around the industry. Getting that engagement right, getting this piece right. All right, let's bring old mate Claude up, run ORCA. ORCA live, ready to begin. Ready to begin. We're on day 20 on this new format. You run ORCA with your team yet? Hot dog? Yes, you've done it. Not a hot dog? No, you haven't. Home. Speak more clearly. Hopefully, it'll pick up what I'm putting down. Welcome back. Another ORCA Live. April 19, 2026, 14.4 minutes. 1% a day. Audience live debrief. Step one is the objective. We're locking in exactly what we set out to do today. What was the objective today? The objective today was to run the operations and intelligence brief for Construction School live on LinkedIn. Good. Objective, run the operations. So did it happen? We're live right at the moment. This is the most powerful process you'll ever learn as well, if you haven't seen it before, ORCA. Everything is tracking well at the moment. We spoke to our theme for the week, which is everyone engaged every day. And the week is going to be focused on how we tell a story with visual planning and create that engagement. Good, theme locked, everyone engaged every day. Week focused on storytelling through visual planning. What's the one thing you want the audience to walk away with and do differently after today's session? I want them to walk away with that understanding of what the difference between productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness is. So productivity just means you do more. Efficiency just means you do more with less. But effectiveness is what we're really chasing, which is doing more of what works. Sharp distinction for the audience. Productivity is volume, efficiency is ratio, effectiveness is direction. Most teams chase the first two and never ask if they're doing the right things at all. Are you close to wrapping up, or is there more to run? We'll be wrapping up as soon as we have finished this debrief. Put a little couple extra stop gaps in at the back end of this as well. Cause, what's driving the focus on effectiveness over productivity and efficiency this week? Why is this a right message for construction teams right now? It all comes down to communication channels. And if you look at the book Nick Sonnenberg wrote, and it shows how complexity scales when you add more people to a project. So I'm in a project that's just in the phase where it's going to start scaling up. So I've got more people coming in. So it's highly critical for what I'm doing at the moment. The visual planning removes the non-value added communications. So if we look at it from a lean perspective, only 10% of our communications are adding value and 90% of them are non-value added. So we're looking to eliminate as much as that as possible via visuals, tack plans, sayings up on the wall that sets the standards. That's the reason why I have those rules of engagement for my meetings. Getting our meetings down to 15 minutes a piece. They don't need to go any longer than that. Might be a lot of transcription here. So what'll happen is, it won't. I have to go out, come back in, pull out that. There's a little bit of hissy fit. I'll do that. There's your root cause of the focus. Project is scaling. More people means exponentially more communication complexity. Visual planning eliminates a 90% non-value added communication before it becomes unmanageable. That sits in organisation, strategy and culture. One action. What does the audience do tomorrow to start shifting from productive to effectiveness? What does the audience do tomorrow? First thing they do is recognize that it's actually happening. First thing you got to do with lean is learn to see waste. They need to recognize what's the value added communication versus non-value added communication. Then they can start to eliminate the non-value added. No point sending 100 emails if you only need to send 3. Perfect. One action for the audience. Tomorrow, identify one communication in your day that is non-value added. Just one. Name it. That's the start of the learning to see waste. What is the objective for tomorrow? Tomorrow, I need to get up on my wall in here. I'll flick to the other camera so people can see the side that I'm talking about. On this wall over here, I need to get the stick up whiteboard on there so that I can set, oh, look at this, I've just done, I've excelled myself here. So I can set my board up the way that I set a whiteboard up and start running the ORCA on a whiteboard with my team. Start getting them used to the way that it runs right now. Back out, come back in, up. Love it. Objective for tomorrow, get the stick up whiteboard on the wall and set the ORCA whiteboard format ready to run with the team. 20 days, 20 debriefs, and today the O&I live landed a message that matters. Stop chasing more, start doing more of what works. Effectiveness over efficiency. Visual planning over noise. Signals over noise. That's the week ahead. See you tomorrow. All right. Take that. Let me come back so I'm looking at you. Take that, use it, make it a great week. If you want anything, like you want to get access to the image to show you how to set up your ORCA board, just like that. If you want to get access to the sheet that I use where I do my tracking, I've actually can set a tack plan up in this as well, which I'm in the process of getting Claude to run that for me from my Trello board. You notice something about everything that I do. There's a reason why I do video, is because you can see it. You can see what I'm talking about. There's a reason why I'm putting a whiteboard up on the wall. There's a reason why I've done this image that's here on this page. Everyone engaged every day, so you can see it. There's a reason why I'm running construction school with all of the things that I'm talking about inside of here. So you can go and see there's a right inside here, and we go back to, where are we? O&I and ORCA. There's a category there just for O&I and ORCA. So you can see what I'm doing. There's no need for you to guess. There's a reason why I made that image of what an ORCA board should look like, or my version of the ORCA board should look like. So you can see what I'm doing. There's a reason why I show you the tracking sheets, so you can see what I'm talking about. Because, where was that quote I wrote down the other day? You might hear what I'm saying, but see something different. I want you to see exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, we're going to do 2 exercises this coming week. One's called the Make a Paper Cup, and I've just forgotten what the other exercise is. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you what, tomorrow morning, I'm going to show you what a good war room looks like. The best of the best. A great war room. Not a good one, a great. This one is exceptional. You're probably not going to, I haven't even had one set up to this point at this stage, but this is where I'm heading. This is where I want to get to. And the reason why I show it to you is so you're not guessing. You're not thinking, oh, I think I know what he's talking about. You might hear what I'm saying, but see something different. That's what visual planning does. That's how it eliminates the noise, the mistakes, and the repeated, I'll get stats. I'll show the stats tomorrow on how much of your day, I think there's like 5 hours of your day is taken up dealing with messaging. Point email, instant messaging, text messaging, all the rest of the noise and nonsense that's going on. And that's because we don't have visuals up where we can go and see what is going on. So we're constantly asked the question, what's happening here? Can you give me an update on this? What's this? Why? Who is doing what, where, and when. You should be able to walk around your war room and see that and know that, what's happening for that project within 5 minutes of walking around it. We do that with TAC plans. We do that with our rules of engagement. We do it by having our ORCA whiteboard set up. Anyone can walk up to that and see exactly what was spoken about at the morning meeting, whether they attended or not, in 2 minutes. All right, take it, use it, make it great. When you're ready, head across, jump into construction school, and don't just be in construction school. Be engaged. Everyone engaged every day. That is our high definition destination. Speak soon. This has been the Trouble Mode Coach, and I want to tell you about a new pilot program that I've got starting this month that I think might just be of interest to you. So it's specifically for two types of people. Number one is you're stuck at a certain level in the construction industry and you can't seem to step up to that next level. Or number two is you got the reverse problem like I had, where you get thrown in the deep end and you think, what the am I supposed to do now? How did you get into the position that you're currently in? I'm going to tell you a quick story about how I got most of my career I spent as a construction superintendent. Anyway, digress a little bit. This is how I actually became a superintendent. So I was on a little gold mine down in Bendigo in Victoria, and the superintendent, I was the supervisor at this point in time. I'd actually only just come off the tools. I had a lot of supervisory experience before, but I'd been on the tools on a job in Darwin. Supervisor there really liked me. He brought me down to this job as a supervisor. And one day my superintendent walked up to me and goes, "Hey Bernie." "Yeah, Pete." I just sacked the construction manager. He said, "I'm the construction manager now." And he said, "You're now superintendent." I went, "That's great, Pete. Appreciate your confidence in me." But I said, "What the does superintendent do?" So if you're stuck stepping up to that next level, or you've been thrown in the deep end like I was, he looked at me, I'll never forget these words. He said, "You're a smart boy, you'll figure it out." Message me the word sweat more, and what I'll do is I'll send you through a link where you can book in for what's known as a triage chat, which is just a quick 15-minute call where we get together to see if we think we might be a good fit to work together or not. Because as a Spartan warrior said, if you sweat more in training, you'll bleed less in war. Speak soon.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
One last thing before I go, which is I'm going to show you the 4 key metrics that I measure on any construction project. Funnily enough, one of them is, you guessed it, engagement. Engagement. You got these 4 metrics on track, which are built off of Gold Rat's rules of flow. These things are built off of physics. They're built off of signals, not noise, not opinions. These 4 things are on track. Your project will be on track. Let another previous Bainey, tell you exactly what they are right now. There are 4 metrics that we're going to measure, which are going to give us a health check on our project. Project manager should be able to go to this and look at it. This is the thinking behind the way that I built this, is 1% of a 24-hour day is 14.4 minutes. So if we eliminate all of the waste, you'll need to come back to the screen back here. We eliminate all of the waste, the 90% of waste that is in his day or is in the process of trying to mitigate the 12 causes of project failure and drive the 9 rules of project flow. We get rid of a lot of that. He should be able to, in 14.4 minutes a day, he can go back to here, look at his Trello board, look at his TAC plan, review the metrics for full kit, engagement, handoffs and constraints, and have an exceptional idea exactly where his project fits and where it's tracking on those things within 15 minutes, 1% of the day, of the 24-hour day. 14.4 minutes, he should be across everything. Take it, use it, make it a great week. Spend 15 minutes, just 15 minutes a day. Go and have a look, see what's going on. Is everyone engaged every day? Speak soon.